Hello everyone, my name's Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. So a lot of you might already know, last week GitHub was hacked. A team called Team PCP, they hacked the GitHub internal repositories and they put up the source code for sale for 50,000 US dollars. GitHub is a very reputed company, so it is important to understand how this actually happened. In today's video, let's understand what happened. Let's also understand how GitHub mitigated this issue and if this happens within your organization, how as DevOps engineers, how as developers, you can also take the required action. This is a very important video. Please try to watch it till the end. Let's get straight to the point. What actually happened? So basically, a Visual Studio Code extension got compromised. Many people say this is the extension NX console. GitHub has also reported issue with this extension, but because they did not publish the RCA, it is not 100% clear that this is the extension. Anyways, so Visual Studio Code extension was compromised. It is compromised for very less amount of time, maybe matter of hours. But during this time, one of the GitHub employees either installed this extension or they might already have it. They just upgraded to the vulnerable version of this extension. Once this employee installed this extension, there is a malicious code that is present within this extension. So because the extension is compromised, hackers added malicious code in it. What this malicious code does, basically it steals the credentials on the local system, right? Because this is installed on VS Code on the employee's laptop, it has access to the employee system and the malicious code, it steals the credentials. What level of credentials does it steal? It can be secrets, it can be OAuth tokens, anything. The secrets that are present on the local system. And this way, the extension got access to the GitHub employee's account. Now, whatever access the GitHub employee has, let's say GitHub employee has admin access on all the GitHub internal repositories. Typically, GitHub as a company, they also maintain their source code in GitHub repositories, internal GitHub repositories. So this employee, let's say, has admin access to all the repositories. Typically, it is not possible. What usually companies do, if a developer is working on a particular module, they only get access to the module. So we are not clear, even at this point, what level of access this employee has. But at least employee might have read access to majority of the repositories. So this way, the internal repositories got hacked. Now, once the internal repositories got hacked, they might have downloaded the source code. That's why they put the source code for sale. So this is a series of events that has actually happened. Even though GitHub did not publish RCA, but this point is clear till now. These are the events that took place. On the very first day, there is no official response from GitHub, but GitHub later accepted 3,800 of their internal repositories were compromised. So it's a lot of repositories that got compromised. And this is a very clear distinction. A lot of people think github.com got compromised. Don't worry, github.com is not compromised. Only the GitHub's internal repositories are compromised. So possibly their operating tools, internal automation, engineering workflows, or maybe snippets from support interactions. Let's say GitHub was interacting with their customers. So their support interactions might also have been compromised. Now, this is not clear how much level of information of the customers was exposed to these hackers, but these are the possibilities. So what did GitHub do? What do we have to learn from GitHub? So GitHub took immediate action. GitHub rotated the required secrets. GitHub made sure they quickly identified. So there is a process which is called forensics. So through this forensics, GitHub identified how their internal repositories were compromised. And they did it in less than 24 hours of time. This is very important to understand. And this is something everyone should take care of. In case there is some attack performed, you should be able to implement the forensics, or you should be able to understand how this attack has happened, and you should be able to mitigate the issue. That is what GitHub did. They quickly identified this took place because of an internal developer within the organization. They rotated the secrets. They made sure all the access that the developer had was removed. So that way, the hackers cannot infiltrate further. They cannot expose the GitHub systems further or hack the GitHub systems further. What GitHub could have done better? This is also important to understand. Now, the developer was provided a laptop and developer was able to install anything on the machine. And this is why developer installed Visual Studio Code extension. This is where GitHub could have done better. GitHub could have maintained a security team, and the security team could have, or they should have, maintained the list of packages that can be installed. Because today, because of AI, there are hundreds of packages on the internet. So anybody can install any package on their local system, and these packages can be malicious. That is exactly what happened. Of course, in this case, NX console package is very popular. It has more than 2.2 million downloads, or even more than that. So in this case, the extension is popular, but still they could have maintained the list of packages that are approved and can be downloaded. The fact is that a lot of organizations do this thing today, especially service companies, because they interact a lot with the customers. They have the list of packages, they have approval level. Only then developers or DevOps engineers can install the tools on their system. This is what GitHub could have done better. And even if you are working as a security engineer, or if you're working in operations who take care of the packages, it is your responsibility to maintain an internal portal like that. Because a junior developer can come in, they can install any package they want, and they can potentially put your entire system at risk or your entire company at risk. So final thoughts: in the world of AI, security is the biggest risk. Hackers are using AI rigorously to perform attacks on the system. So if you're into software engineering, no matter what you do in your organization, make sure every action that you perform, it does not bring security issues for your company. It can be installing packages, it can be giving access to others, requesting access. If there is a security team, get in touch with them. GitHub has not performed, or GitHub has not shared the RCA yet. Once they share the RCA, I'll put that in the description as well as the pinned comment. I hope you found today's video informative. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions.